Hi there. I just had my paper oriented the other direction, and looking at the model that I'm going to use, I had an inspiration, and so I moved it the other way, and we'll see what happens to my idea. But I did have an idea. So if somebody says that guy's got no idea, it's not true. I've got an idea. How's everybody doing? I'm sorry, sort of, to have missed you yesterday, but we had a very nice day out at the Boyce Thompson Arboretum. And if you live in the area and you've never been to the Boyce Thompson Arboretum, I get paid a nickel every time I say Boyce Thompson Arboretum. So that's where we were yesterday. We were at the Boyce Thompson Arboretum. And we were there yesterday and didn't get back in time to make any videos, which I had rather expected. So it was very pretty, and the weather was perfect for it. Um, there are some challenging trails there, so I'm told. I've never been on them, but if Sharon ever gets a chance to come out and visit us again, perhaps she'll leave us behind on the children's trail, and she'll go take a real hike because she's a real hiker. But the rest of us are not, and the rest of us are old and fat. And so, yeah, we'll. Sharon's much younger than the rest of us. Much, much younger than the rest of us. So, yeah, there are, so I'm told, some very hi sissy, some very challenging trails that go up a steep hill and around and I don't know, down the other side and come up the other end of the park, and I've always been curious to go see what that's like, but it's not within my ability set right at the moment because I came home from the Boyce Thompson Arboretum, and I my ankles felt like some fat guy had been walking on them all day. That's how they felt, and so what we did was perfectly challenging enough. And what we did was actually very easy trails. There's a bunch of trails that twist around. It's kind of a Disneyland kind of concept where it's like a small piece of real estate has been turned into these meandering trails that go like this and tuck back into each other and everything, and you feel like you've gone, you're hella gone from where you started, and you're actually 100 feet from where you started, but you just looped back, and that's cool. And then they've got all kinds of plants. Plants from all over the world are planted around their trees and things. And this was something that got started. No, I don't remember the history. I read all about it a few years ago and then forgot most of it. But it got started by a guy named Boyce Thompson. So it got named the Boyce Thompson Arboretum. Also, there's Wallace Desert Gardens or something like that. Used to be up in Scottsdale. I may have said that wrong. It might have been Waldo or something, but it was some other. It was some name, and they used to be up in Scottsdale, and I don't know what happened to that piece of property, but all of their plants were uprooted and transported out to Boyce Thompson Arboretum. And so So there's a whole new section that's just recently opened. Um, Although some bits and pieces of it were obviously there for a long time, so I don't know. We had never seen any of it, but I mean, some of the plants had obviously been growing there for quite a while, and so anyway, it was very pretty and very easy trails. It was just like two old fat cripples like us can just walk around, and so yeah, nothing too challenging. And John says, but Sharon's retired. Yeah, but she's not tired like me. Sissy says, I need this today. We went shopping, and oh my goodness, this is when we always shop at the store. Was so busy today, and why don't people keep their distance? Even without a pandemic, I don't want to rub elbows with strangers. I feel very much the same way. And yeah, I've been in a couple of places that I just can't understand people. It's just like, what are you doing? It's just like, keep your distance unless you just don't feel like it, which is all the time. So people just walk on top of each other. I was at the zoo last week and I stood in the middle. Those roads are big, they're wide. They can have, two of those Jeeps pass each other. So certainly two strollers or two people can pass each other with lots of space in between. And I would get out, because there were people looking at this and looking at something over there, and I'd go stand in the middle of the road, and I'd stand still, waiting for Stellar to finish whatever she was doing. I'm standing perfectly still, and there's people pushing a stroller, and they got their mob of rodents around them, and they're looking me right in the eye and walking straight at me, wondering why I'm not running to get out of their way, and it's like, you got 10 feet to either side and you'd still have space. But no, they've got to go right where I'm standing. It has to be where everybody walks, and they're willing to literally just grease their skin across my skin if that's what it takes to walk right through the piece of real estate that my feet are standing on. And yeah, so that's how it was at the zoo. But at the Boyce Thompson Arboretum, we very rarely had to get anywhere close to anybody. There were not that many people out. And of course, the weather's getting cooler, and so some people aren't going to like that anyway. Um, John says, and out hiking a mountain somewhere today, so that's why Sharon's not here. And Wallace Gardens, Stellar assures me, is correct. Um, And yes, Stellar says I make her go in. I do. I do. I stay in the car and she goes and does all the shopping while I stay safely in the car. Because it's a man's place behind the steering wheel. I don't know. Someday when we're looking back on this, we might say, well, this part was an overreaction and this part was an underreaction and this part we were completely wrong about, but oh, here's these other six things that were complete surprises, and you know, that's the thing about new stuff. It's new. You find out stuff later if you live. If you don't live, you're one of those pieces of data. That's where people go. And then there was that idiot who thought he knew what he was doing, and he didn't, and he got himself killed. And that's how we know this and such. All right, so here's a little picture of a model, and one of you people is always knocking my paper towel onto the floor. We should stop. Stop doing that. Go again. All right. I love this model. She was great. Sadly, she has gone to a better place. Sedona, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, she's not around anymore. And she was strong but very, very skinny. Uh, Made a good model for somebody who wanted to study uh, the skeletal structure. Could you you could see all of like the points of her shoulder and her ribs and stuff, but at the same time you could see a lot of the muscles too. It's just like like one of those educational sculptures that has the skeleton on one side and then the muscles pasted on. She practically looked like that, and was nevertheless very pretty. Take my word for it. It's don't try it at home, but it was it was like that. But I do find myself when I draw her, um, she looks too scrawny and bony, and I have to flesh her out a bit because some guys are like that. Yeah, John says that's the only power some people have to prove that they are the princess. Yeah, you're probably correct, assuming you're talking about walking into somebody else's space. And Stellar says, whatever we learn, there are far too many sick and dead to call it an overreaction. I totally agree. And yeah, unless John was talking about me making Stellar go into the store to prove that I'm the powerful princess, which I am. I am a powerful. I'm a power princess. That's why that's why I've got the live video and you don't, because I'm the power princess. But hey, speaking of skinny people, you might not believe it, but I was skinny once. I can remember. I think there might even be pictures kicking around somewhere, but they don't look like me, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't prove anything. I bought this shirt that I'm wearing from Duluth Trading Company, which is they make good products, and but I ordered an extra large because if I buy a shirt at Target or anywhere else like that, I have to have an extra large because anything smaller than extra large is tight in the armpits, and if I raise my arms, it comes up and leaves my belly exposed, which is not a good thing. And so yeah, so I bought this extra large and also this extra. I don't have a word for it, but they're long. They're extra long, and that's mostly what I was going for. And so that when I move my arms, they don't ride all the way up. And well, Duluth has a different philosophy from Target and everybody else. They think extra large is for people who are extra large. So I get this thing and put it on. My God, it's a dress. I could wear this thing to the prom. Um, so it's kind of a kick around the house shirt. Um, but but I have solved the problem. I've done the only thing that a boy could rationally do in this situation, which is I put on an extra 50 pounds to fill out the extra slack space inside my shirt. Um, so now I really am extra large and it fits me. Drawing is all wrong. And I'm going to blame being off to the side, oh, unless you're really getting sick of my using that excuse, and I'll have to think of a new one. But something, yeah, there's some there's some disproportionate stuff in here going on, but hopefully I can hide it. I don't know. On one hand, I think I should always start with blank paper so that people can watch me build a sketch up from nothing. And on the other hand, I think, no, I should start with a finished sketch so that people can see my process for imagining things and taking it somewhere creative. Um, because because that's more interesting. The internet's filled um, with guys who can draw. You know, they'll just, you know, if you wanted to learn figure drawing, the internet's absolutely chock full of tutorials, YouTube tutorials, and things where people block out the figure and do stuff like that. But dreaming up wacky things to do with that figure after it's already drawn, there's much fewer people doing stuff like that. In fact, I've never seen anybody. There's got to be somebody, but I've never seen anybody. So feel free to tell me which type of thing you prefer to see. Because God knows, I've got a bunch of sketches over here I could work on instead of starting something new. Sissy says, "What? You don't want to dress like Winnie the Pooh?" Well, who says that? I'm dressed just like Winnie the Pooh. Um, and John says about the woman with the stroller and the gang of demon spawn. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I thought. That she's just gotta prove to me. Well, you know, people usually get out of her way, I guess. I've got children. Don't you see I've got children? Yeah. You're supposed to change everything about your life to accommodate my bad choices. Because I don't know how birth control works. Am I being too cynical? Let me know if I'm being too cynical. I can dial it down. There's a little slide bar below the video where you can just adjust cynicism, you know, and you just slide it down. There's less cynicism. My idea when I was looking at this and saying, okay, I may as well be drawing that, and then, you know, what am I going to do with it? I had it turned the other direction, and then I don't know, I just had this idea of her sitting on it's sort of a saddle, um, but maybe it's more like a how to do. Um, you know, in the back of some big immense animal. You have a thought, and then you start to do it, and go, "Oh, I'm out of my depth. I don't know what I'm doing." That's all. I've got to make it at least a little bit smaller. I can't be drawing a big old elephant because it's just going to go off the paper in both directions. So I got to do something else. Like a domestic crocodile bird thing. That's the kind of thing. We had our little bitty hawk in the yard again this morning, and he caught a little, either a house finch or a goldfinch. I couldn't tell, something very small, and probably just the perfect size for him. But I was like, damn it, don't take those. I like those. You just have all the pigeons and doves you want. But, well, such is life, I guess. Que est la vie, as they say. Que est la vie. That's French for c'est la vie. Yeah, I don't know how the saddle thing is constructed. I'm just going to make something up. Just got a roll cage on her saddle, and thing back here so that when this guy rocks his head back, he stops himself so he doesn't bash her brains out with the back of his head. That's important. In your dinosaur riding. Tomorrow, oh, Sissy says right now it looks a bit like Nessie. Um, and John, I mean Sharon, popped in for just a second. Said hi from the mountains. We're gonna get moving again. So bye. All right, all right. Thanks for popping in. I missed it. Sorry. Um, um, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and we're not going anywhere. And we always go visit family at Thanksgiving. And so this is like the first time in many, many years that we're doing Thanksgiving just the two of us at home, and we're going to do Christmas just the two of us at home, and probably New Year's just the two of us at home. And that we're kind of bummed about it. So we're opening the Zoom room tomorrow. I don't know, 9, 10. I'm not certain. Uh, Maybe Stellar will make a comment. But we're going to open the Zoom room tomorrow morning. And if you're watching this video, you are invited to come in. So I will post the link on the thread, on my page, um, at about, what do you think, Stellar? 9 o'clock or 10? We'll see. 9 or 10. We're going to open the Zoom room, and just quite possibly leave it open all day long. We actually can. We can have 100 people in, and we can have it for 24 hours, a 24-hour long meeting if you wanted to. We've never done that. Um, but so she says probably around 10 o'clock. Okay, 10 o'clock. I'm going to post the link. If you're here or if you're seeing it, um, you're invited, and we're just going to leave it up all day. And it's mostly going to be boring. Okay, it's going to be like one of those weird webcam things where you watch people living their daily life. But hopefully, um, friends and relatives will pop in. So, Sissy, yeah, we're gonna leave the Zoom room open, um, until late in the evening. I don't know, till I haven't picked a time. I don't know. Till but after supper anyway. So starting 10 o'clock in the morning till 5 or 6 in the afternoon, um, and then and I'm not going to be sitting there glued to the Zoom, and it's not going to be a program of any kind. It's just going to be the opportunity for somebody to walk into the room and say, "Hey, everybody," and we'll see what happens. I've heard of other people doing similar things at other in other contexts. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. It may be one of the dumbest ideas I've ever had in my life, but that's all right. It's not completely illegal, so I probably won't get arrested. Yep, she's riding around on her Nessisaurus. And Sissy says it sounds like a lovely idea. I hope so. Thank you. And I hope to see you and the rest of the family. I think it would be fun. And um, yeah, we'll we'll try to leave it somewhere where we're less likely to be walking around naked. And so it'll probably be open in the kitchen while we're chopping vegetables and making things uh, for food. Um, I'm sometimes a little bit helpful when it comes to cooking things. However, it's a very small kitchen, so sometimes two people trying to do anything in there is just not helpful to either one of them. So I don't know how that's going to work. We've never really, well, we have once. We've done Thanksgiving dinner here once, but my dad came down to visit us, and we've just decided this year we shouldn't do that. And I've heard all the arguments, and I have made all the arguments to myself that for a lot of people they're going to say, oh, let's just play it safe and not go visit grandma, and then grandma's going to die, and then you're going to spend the rest of your life going, I should have gone and visited my grandma. And that's entirely possible. That is absolutely possible. And if it happens, I am going to spend the rest of my life wishing I had gone to visit, and also second guessing myself and saying, well, if I had gone to visit, maybe I'd have made things worse, or God knows. I don't know. I and millions of other people will be second guessing ourselves about this period in time forever. And historians will look back on it and they will argue about whether we saved ourselves by taking the precautions we took, or whether we were just all stupid and you know the whole thing was a waste of time, because whatever, I don't know, some unknown, some currently unknown thing that they'll know, 10, 20 years from now, and also both sides of the political aisle are going to spin it into something utterly different than what it is right at the moment. That's something I'll guarantee you. Somebody's, going to make it a, you know, well, everything, somebody orchestrated the whole virus, somebody orchestrated the whole belief in the virus, somebody, uh, they're already doing that. I mean, but they will continue. It will continue on both sides to have been turned into something that the other party caused or leveraged or something. Because history is like that. History isn't about what happened; it's about what you make of it. That's your lesson for the day. History is what you make of it. where I'm going with all that is I'd like to say one day we'll know. We'll know the whole thing. We'll look back and we'll have all the facts and we can lay it all out on the table and say, well, this is what happened. This part was right. This part was wrong. This part was good. This part was bad. Um, but that's not the case. That's never going to happen. We will. There will be people until the end of time uh, saying everything that's currently being said, and stuff that you can't even imagine. I can't imagine. I can't even pull a crazy enough thought out of my butt to throw it out there as an example. But somebody's going to say things years from now, and they're going to sound like experts. They're going to sound like they know exactly what they're talking about. They're going to be people that you respect in all other respects, and and you're going to say, "Oh, I didn't know that." Possibly something that they're saying is right, and most likely most of it's speculation, and we're not going to know. I used to watch it's a thing on TV called Movie Magic. And it was just a half-hour segment that went over how they did the special effects on something. It could be a movie, a TV show. I mean, it was mostly science fiction, but it could be just anything. It could be a historical thing where they just had to build a build a matte painting. One of them would be about matte painting. And another one would be about uh, you uh, dinosaur, how to make dinosaur puppets or something like that. It was a fun little show. I was thinking about it as I made all these little scales and stuff. Um, John says, "Yeah, New Year's pizza party has sometimes been like a fun kitchen mosh pit." That is very true. Sometimes we've gotten a scary number of people in there, considering all the knives and hot surfaces and everything. Um, John's still at the Twin Towers conspiracy stage. Yeah, we know. As long as we have flat earthers, everything's possible. Sure, sure. That's the magic of flat earthers. Anything is possible. Jesus on a dinosaur, this girl on a dinosaur. It's all possible. Um, it was the guys on the grassy knoll. Finally, an explanation to what they were up to, because they were up to something. They were planning to blow up a building that hadn't been built yet. Yeah. Yeah. Sissy, that's John. That's his style. It's his idiom. It's his idiom. Yes. So this is fun. I, I was I was anticipating putting something else in here, like like a guard, standing here with a big spear going up, or maybe standing back behind her with a spear going up, and I've kind of not got the room to do that. Uh, yeah, the speeder on Star Wars was on a track with mirrors reflecting the ground. I'm not sure I knew that. But that would work. Yeah, I could see why that would work. It's kind of the old severed head trick, the severed head on the table when the mirror under the table reflecting the floor, and it looks like there's nothing under the table. Um, yeah, yeah. There was a segment once where they made a really cheap dinosaur film that I've never seen and probably is worth not seeing, but they uh, they took plastiline clay, modeling clay, and they basically made all these little chocolate chips out of them, little blobs and bumps, and made a big patch that looked like bumpy dinosaur skin. And then they poured uh, what you call it, some kind of rubber molds over that, or maybe plaster. Maybe they poured. I don't remember. But anyways, they made a mold off of that. Got rid of the clay, and then they just made it. Probably made plaster, and then they put a little patch of latex in there, and then when it was dry, they peeled it out, and they did another one. They did another one, another one. So they had all these little irregular patches of skin, and then they'd make this big dinosaur out of styrofoam or something, and we just standing there going, and they just stuck, they just glued all these skin patches on it, uh, probably just on one side of it, where the camera was, um, but and then the guys would be running, and somebody would shake the thing and go, arg! Uh, but still, I was like, it was pretty damn cool, considering the budget was like practically nothing. Uh, so it was kind of neat. I enjoyed that film, Movie Magic, with a TV series. Maybe it's all on YouTube somewhere. I did have, and might possibly still have, a bunch of videotape that I had made of Movie Magic, except I don't own a VCR anymore. And it would be really old videotapes that had 6 different things recorded over them. It'd be crap. It'd be crap. So that's it's possibly all I've got. I really don't expect to be doing this tomorrow. Not a live thing. For one thing, I'll be using the computer to do Zoom, and so Zoom will be open. Um, and I do not actually know what we're doing on Friday. We might try to go walk off some calories by going to the park or something, but I don't expect that to be an all day thing, just something. And okay, John says, I got that from the guy who headed those special effects for Star Wars. He was over for dinner, killer ping pong player. Oh, huh. Which guy? There was a lot of special effects guys. There's a uh, The other day, I was trying to list off all these artists and authors that we've met at sci-fi cons, and I came up with practically nobody, and we really have met a whole bunch of people. And I also have this long list in my head of guys who did special effects for Star Wars, and I've got none of them coming to mind. Absolutely nothing, uh, except Phil Tippett, who did the stop motion, and he also did work for uh, for Flesh Gordon back when all the guys. Basically, if you take all the special effects guys from the first Star Wars movie, they all worked on Flesh Gordon, just about, and none of them wanted to be credited on Flesh Gordon until decades later, when they all kind of relaxed about it and went, "Oh yeah, everybody loves it. It's funny." And so now their names are on the credits, but I don't have that list of names in front of me. So something or rather creature shop. Somebody, the name. Damn it, I don't know. Um, okay, John doesn't remember the name either. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that is literally all I've got. If I said any more, it would just be babble, like it wasn't already. And so I hope we will see you all wandering in and out of Zoom at various times tomorrow. Or come and stay all day. Clothing optional. So, yeah. We'll see you tomorrow, and thanks for coming. Bye bye.